That'll be what we're doing it. See if you can kill that fly.
Oh, that's annoying, man.
Oh, wow. That's a sweaty day.
Bit humid.
Oh, it's humid as hell. It's ridiculous. Anyway, guys, welcome to today's live stream. We're going to be talking today about one of my favourite wineries that I just encountered when I was down in South Australia last, and that's Kangarilla Road. Just beforehand, I think we'll just have a beer to just get the day off. It's just so hot. Like it's humid. It's
yeah,
muggy.
it's not hot, but yeah, when I was downstairs doing the stuff today, I was drenched in sweat.
Yeah, just sweating like it's no tomorrow. So while we're just having a beer,
I shouldn't tell you I was at home with the fan on.
I hate you. Actually, no, everything was really good here until the load turned up about, 8 minutes ago. And then it just got really hot all of a sudden.
Yeah, 2 deliveries at the same time.
Yeah. And we're not small deliveries either. We consistently seem to be getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So, Kangarilla Road. Quick part about it. South Australian winery in McLaren Vale, family owned. Kevin and Helen O'Brien. Oh God, I hope I got that right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's O'Brien. Awesome people. They've also got a son, Charlie, who works with them. How do you describe Charlie? He kind of is a young Sideshow Bob. He's got that big hair there, that big spiral perm hair that's everywhere, like the Sideshow Bob character.
Yeah.
But for a 21, 22-year-old winemaker, he's pretty on the ball. And he's got some really interesting wines he's working with too.
Seems pretty young to get into wine, like to be a winemaker at a renowned venue.
Yeah, well, so being the son of Kevin, that he obviously grew up with wine. And anyway, he thought, him and a couple of his mates got together and decided we were going to buy some grapes and make their own wine. So that he just wanted to do something out of the box. And he's done some pretty cool stuff. He does a wine. The wine label is called Silent Noise. So,
yeah.
Sparkling.
Oh, the Chardonnay.
The Chardonnay, the Primitivo.
Yeah.
So again, playing with varietals and working on styles of wine that are really interesting. And in fact, he's worth doing one of these just by itself. But sort of that'll give you an idea that the whole family is involved in the winery. And the story I've got for so I ran into Kangarilla Road years and years and years ago, where this is pretty early in my wine education days, or my wine learning days, we were selling Kangarilla Road Primitivo. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I didn't know what a Primitivo was, and I had to learn about it. And but we sold a fair bit of it. It was fairly consistently one of the better sort of selling wines. This is before I even knew what classical regions Australia had. So I always associated Kangarilla Road with Primitivo. They disappeared from the marketplace for a while, whether distribution or the places that I worked didn't carry it or not. But one of my suppliers, Michael from ARWW, took it on board and said, I've got Kangarilla Road. And I went, oh, brilliant. So we got in their Shiraz and their Cabernet. And I said, mate, I know these guys for their Primitivo.
Yeah.
Where's the Primitivo? And Michael's like, oh, we don't carry the Primitivo. It's not what we do. And I went, well, you'd better, because I love it. And he's like, oh, okay. He said, well, I'll get you some. And so we did a class, and he got me some back vintage Primitivo. And we had it for the Mr. Riggs back vintage thing that we did. And I showed the Primitivo, and it sold out. Like, it was a 2014, I think, it sold out so quickly. And so he said, he committed to getting Primitivo and the Zinfandel in. So I was down in South Australia, and I got to meet them. And it was the end of a pretty long day for them. They'd done a charity event in the morning, to do with picking grapes and
your recent trip?
Yeah, my recent trip. And so Roz and I turned up after a pretty long day. We turned up about 4. And most of the wineries sort of shut down. Most of the cellar doors shut by about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And we wandered in and sort of met these two guys at the front. Didn't know who they were. Hey, how you going, guys? Yeah, good. Turned out to be Kevin and Charlie, but I didn't know that they were off to do something quickly. And I went inside and I met Helen. And Helen said, she was obviously had a huge day, but she was still, working with a couple in the corner there, and they were, drinking what? Kids were playing and running around the place, and I thought, oh, okay, this is pretty happy. So I said, oh, look, just Andrew from Queensland, just thanks for taking the time to to meet me. I just want to go to the wine. She goes, oh, Kevin will be back in just a second. And Kevin and Charlie walk in. And I had an awesome afternoon just trying every single wine that they do. Sauv Blanc, the Rosé, Primitivo Shiraz, Zinfandel, Cabernet, the top-end Shiraz, all these different wines. And by the time we left, it was about 5:30, so it wasn't they'd had a huge day. And I said, oh, thanks for that, guy. They said, no, you're coming back to our place for dinner. And I went, okay, but as long as we're not imposing. And they said, no, come back. So we went up to their place, and it's up on the top of McLaren Vale, on the hills overlooking McLaren Vale Flat and out to the ocean. And just had an amazing night, probably one of my favourite nights there. That night and the next night with Walter Clappers of Pettiness were my two favourite nights of the trip. They were just awesome. Great people, great family.
He also lives up on the hill.
He lives up on the hill, same sort of place. But yeah, just really lovely people, really genuinely lovely people. It's not that whole persona put on. It was really genuinely lovely. And Charlie really, and actually I must admit Charlie intrigued me because he worked overseas and he told me some stories from there. So I was so impressed that the family connection for the wines is still there. There's a hope from my side of it, because one of the big problems that we have with wineries is a family-owned wine will undergo changes when people pull back from the winery. But they've got something in place where I think Charlie could take over quite merrily, do Silent Noise and do Kangarilla Road as well. So there's not going to be a loss of a great winery due to future things that happen. So that really is hopeful. And today we're going to be looking at the wines that we sell in the shop, and we're going to talk a bit about the alternate varietals particularly, and then we're going to look at what just the McLaren Vale does.
I just whacked these on the table. What are we going to try first?
So I got the Primitivo,
Zinfandel, yep.
Shiraz, Cab.
Yep, perfect. That's exactly the order I've been working for too.
I've also heard good things about their Sangiovese. I had a customer in the other day who said they liked the Kangarilla Road Sangiovese. I've never seen it before in the thing.
I'd have to look it up. I didn't remember trying that.
Yeah. I just quickly saw it on the page.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they do have it.
Yeah.
Haven't tried it. Actually, no, I might have tried it, but I was so wowed by on that. I think also Sangiovese we've got a fair bit of at the moment, but it's something we could certainly look at in the future. Because I mean, especially with the things that are going on internationally at the moment with trade war in China and stuff. I just wrote a post on that today on my own little thing. Don't associate it with the store. It's just a personal thing.
What have they done?
Oh, it's a 200.
No, well, I know they've done that, but now they're going on about coal or something, are they?
Oh, that started with coal, isn't it?
It started with wheat.
Oh, right. I thought it was like coal and iron. Because they were buying a lot about coal and iron, and then put the tariffs on that, and then I thought it extended out from there to pretty much all trade.
Yeah, it might be actually, but I know that 216% is the Australian wines.
Yeah.
And I've been fielding a lot of questions. We've been talking about a lot of the wineries. We have two wineries that are Chinese owned in the store, one of which is hand-picked. They're Chinese-backed winery. And the other one is Allendale.
Yeah,
now,
Allendale's surprising.
Well, that's the thing, is I read, and this is where it gets a little bit strange, I had to read up who the owners were. And the owners are two Chinese businessmen, one of which is a resident of Hong Kong and holds British citizenship. So therefore, you could call him British or Chinese, depending on how much you wanted to denigrate the project. And the other one is a Chinese. He is a Chinese who has his family and lives over here with his family. Chinese businessman with his family over here. So
that's the question is in the end is where does the money go?
That's probably the big point, and it's very hard to find these kind of things out. I mean, it really is. I mean, big companies, any company that's on the stock exchange, you will know exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
But any company that's not on the stock exchange, it's a private company. It can go wherever they want. So at the end of the day, I think it's up to a personal opinion of what you want to buy. If you find that you don't want to buy Chinese-owned wine for whatever reason, be it that you don't like the Chinese, or be it that you don't want money to go to China, or whatever excuse you want to give to it, that's really up to you. But on the low level, you are affecting people who are working for those wineries in Australia. So you are actually affecting local communities in Australia
as well.
doing that. At a corporate level, you actually are affecting the opportunity for international investors, Chinese or otherwise, coming in to support the wine industry. And those investors, because there's more French, American-owned wineries in Australia than there are Chinese-owned ones.
Yeah.
But those also give access to other markets too. So at a corporate level, you are kind of hamstringing a little bit the wine industry as a whole, a little bit, by doing that.
Yeah.
When it comes to that national scale, that's where you're talking literally a collectivist idea of Australia versus the world. And I'm not sure if I prescribe to one or the other. I think it's a completely personal opinion, and you buy the wines that make you feel good about yourself, really, and taste good. Obviously, they've got to be good.
Yeah, well, I personally choose to support family-owned wineries, and especially if I meet the winemaker and they're nice people.
Yep.
Like, even if their wine's like not as good as something of the same price value, I'd probably take that anyway. But I do that not just with wine, but with most other products. Yeah.
And I think it's up to a personal opinion what your dollar value is too. I have written a fairly, just a broad strokes thing on Facebook, just on my page, my personal page. But that can be interpreted in many different ways, but I try to keep it as coherent as possible. So, back to the wines anyway, which is Australian owned and excellent. Family owned, Australian owned. The other part is that when Kev first started, he started with an American company, dealing American wines. So this is where he first came across Zinfandel. Now we're actually having the Primitivo to start. So this is the Primitivo. So Pat, you did a little bit of research on Primitivo. What did you find out?
Not much. Well, I found out the basic history of like Primitivo comes from the Heel area of Italy, but originally from Croatia. Then went to the USA and for one reason or another got rebranded as Zinfandel.
Yep.
Couldn't find, like, the tasting notes were a bit hard to decipher.
Yep.
So I thought I'd probably just leave the tasting notes to what I find. But
so essentially, you're correct. Down in Apulia, it's one of the major red wine grape varietals. So you've got Negro Amaro and Primitivo, the two major red varietals in Apulia, down the bottom end of the heel, where you're talking about. Yeah. It did probably translate from Croatia. That's where they're thinking that most of these crosses and blends and things have turned up. When it translated over to America, no one in America knew what Primitivo was. In fact, they didn't even know that the grape varietal
what was the time frame that it moved to America?
It moved over to America in the 1870s.
Yeah, so you don't have the internet, you can't cross-check data and...
So it turned up in California, and actually it turned up in the southern part, Santa Barbara, what's the bottom, San Francisco?
No, that's north.
That's north.
South is like...
So, New Mexico, was just north of New Mexico.
We don't have a map.
Geographically, it turned up in the southern area of California, and then it migrated itself north, and became it's a really high cropping grape. It actually produces a lot of fruit character at the front.
Yeah.
And when they started making it, they were making it, and the flavour and styles from the terroir or the region that it's from produced a whole bunch of different flavours. Now, Italian winemakers drank Zinfandel, and it looked nothing like Primitivo.
But it's the same varietals.
Same grape, but the way it was made and the terroir it was grown in was massively different.
Yeah.
So they actually named it.
Well, they didn't know what it was. They called it Zinfandel. I think they had a funny feeling it was an Austrian red to begin with. So
yeah.
Well, if you show me what's around that, I'll probably be able to take a stab.
So Primitivo from southern Italy is normally really fruit forward, but then has very little acid and has a tendency to fall away really quickly. It's a fruit-driven, easy-drinking style wine. In Australia, I find it to be a big plush sort of red fruit style that does have a fair bit of persistence in the back. So
It definitely lingers a bit at the back.
it does. It doesn't have any gripping tannins
No.
or hard tannins. It's very soft.
It's almost watery, but it's the lack of tannin, I think.
Yeah, lack of tannins. And you look at the colour. That's a pretty deep colour.
Really deep.
Yeah, it's like a ruby.
Strathire. It's, yeah, and it'll be a nice
Still
smooth.
seems acidic-y. Like,
But yeah, it's not ridiculously acidic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing an online thing.
Yeah, we're just chatting.
We're just drinking. What are you looking for, my dear?
You recommended a whiskey to Peter that was around $200, and he's now decided he wants it for his birthday on Friday.
Oh.
He can't remember which one it was.
Oh, wow. That's going to be hard then.
Strathisla.
No, it wasn't Strathisla. That's a $90 one. That's...
Oh, no, but that's what he bought, so something similar.
Oh,
I
okay.
was not watching this at home.
Yeah.
Shh, hear my voice.
Don't know about this, Peter. Might have been Lark.
Got two eyeballs.
Lark.
Yeah.
Back to one eyeball.
But I don't know
He
if
might have
it's
been
the
watching and just
exact
turned it off.
picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we had two, now we've got one.
Yes.
Lark's 250s.
Actually, just let me... You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Talking about all the food what you got.
Yeah, there you go. Hook in.
Yeah, so this is actually my first. We tried the Primitivo briefly when Michael brought around the tastings for it. It's very fruit, like dark red fruits. I get like
I get not much at all at the front. But
I get a little bit, but yeah,
Sorry. Only better. Because it's
just really soft.
yeah, yeah.
no,
Not a lot of
it's
time.
sour.
It'd be good to compare it to the Zinfandel, because it is technically the same varietal, but those will be grown in the same area.
Yeah,
They probably taste similar, unless
It's
yeah.
probably not my style. I would expect to find this more in blends.
Well, yeah,
But I've never heard of Primitivo.
Yeah, it's weird because I've never seen a Primitivo in a blend. I don't know because it's not it'd be an alternate varietal in Australia, so it'd have to be, it wouldn't have much renown to it. But then again, like no one drinks straight Malbecs or, well, not usually.
Not usually.
Yeah.
Got them there.
Yeah, or Mataros and Verdres. Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably, other than the other time we tried it, it's the first time I've.
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon it'd be a good food wine. Like, it seems to have like a little bit of sweetness. Like,
It has to be really light sort of meat, so nothing too heavy. But if it wasn't for the colour, I'd be saying it's a lighter style.
yeah,
Not a Pinot Noir, but the lighter style of it.
yeah.
But that's the colour that's unbelievable.
Yeah. So what would you eat with that?
Maybe like hams.
Yeah, like soft.
Like Christmas Day, a ham.
Yeah,
Cold ham.
cold meat platter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly not something you'd have with steak or.
What's that? Sorry, the
Yeah.
Primitivo?
We're going
Yeah.
with cold meats and lighter style.
Yeah, chartreuse is always really good. Antipasta. Charcuterie palette.
I was gonna say mixing with chartreuse wouldn't go.
Yeah, they do. I don't know, man. I've had some weird drinks lately.
Yeah.
If I was blindfolded, I'd probably think this is a
Now-
light Pinot Noir or something.
I actually do have a question for you. What's the age of that one?
I think it's 2018.
Yep, 18.
2018? Because it's getting quite a lot of those tertiary notes.
Not kidding.
Just in the back palate there. I'm getting that sort of raisiny chocolate sort of note in the back.
I get a little bit of chocolate. Like yeah.
I actually find this to go well with things like lamb. Asian dishes would go really well, like curries and things like that.
I would think the oiliness of the lamb there's not much tannin enough to wash it away.
It does, yeah.
There's a little bit of acid to it. It's not really mouthwatering.
But for me, Asian dishes like curries and things like that work really well because it's really fruit forward. And fruit forward, it's not a huge complex style of wine. if you have a really complex style of wine with curry dishes, you're kind of losing so much of the wine because the spice and that will override it quite merrily.
Yeah.
But this will actually marry up quite nicely with the spice, so I think it'll be really good for that one.
We were just talking before as well about I haven't seen Primitivo show up in blends, but it seems like it'd be a good blending wine. I can't think what you would blend it with. Maybe
Touriga, Grenache. No, you wouldn't need the Grenache. It's pretty got that. Something in the mid palate. You can probably have Merlot.
Oh, it's more back palate, isn't it?
Yeah, mid palate for Merlot. So the fruit forward in this. There's several blends you could do, but you'd have to just call it a Rosso or because you'd be just too confusing. Not many people know what Primitivo is.
Yeah.
This is the first one I've really had it to do it.
And we're talking as well about the Primitivo and the Zinfandel, same grape varietal, but because they're grown in different terroirs in
international,
America and Italy. Would it stand to reason that those two should be somewhat similar because they're grown in similar regions in Australia?
So originally Kangarilla Road did Zinfandel because that was his background. He was an American sort of sales and dealing with that. And what happened was 13, he did a sale of, they got two tiers of it. They had the Kangarilla Road Zinfandel and the Kangarilla Road entry-level Zinfandel. I can't remember if he called it something different, but two Zins.
Yeah.
And if you notice the labelling, it's pretty the same. Even for the premium stuff, the Devil's Whiskers is their top-end Shiraz. The labelling for that is still very, very similar to the Kangarilla Road Shiraz.
Yeah.
So he started getting complaints of, why am I able to buy your Zinfandel where you're selling it to me for $50 and I'm buying it at this shop for $20?
Yeah.
So he found, he kind of went, damn it, we need to really rebrand and relabel that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well,
that's when he used the word Primitivo on his entry-level one.
Oh.
Because...
It's the same thing, just different tiers.
Yes, different tiers, but also it gave a really distinct thing because do you get much oak on this? No, that's because it's got older oak on it, but that's about it, I reckon. I haven't walked all the way through the winemaking process for it, but older oak, but pretty much the extractions and everything is still the same across the board. The Zinfandel has got much better oak to it, and it's usually the better grapes go into it as well.
It should be good to revisit these after because I'm finding this opening up a lot more.
Oh, this does.
Than what's into the first sip.
Well, that's why I opened it like a good while before we started. Trying to let it breathe for a bit.
So we're going to go on now to the Zinfandel and actually look to see what the difference between the $25 Primitivo and the $50 Zinfandel is. Now I have drunk the Zinfandel from, I think it was, put it this way, when I got to his place, he said, we'll open some wines and have a look. I said, yeah, sure. So we opened 8 bottles of wine and would have done a lot more if my wife hadn't stopped.
Pretty much the backward, almost
because he had like a 13 Zin, a 14 Zin, a 16 Zin, and then he had Shiraz of, I think it was 12, 14, 15, 16. So we would just had wine lined up, and I would have happily stayed there all night and drunk. And we were there from, so we turned up at this elevator at 4 o'clock. I left at 11:30 that night.
Jesus.
It was a great night, and it's one of my, and I'll be honest, it was one of my favourite nights that I've had on any of my wine trips that I've had. You know, the ones that we had, that you and I had down there. Even Day on the Green, that was great fun, and ending up with the winemakers and things like that. But this one for me was just so about the people and so about the winery.
We met winemakers that day?
Yeah, we did. You might not remember them, but they were there.
No, that was a good day.
So the colouring on this again, so lovely dark.
Seems a touch darker than the Primitivo.
On the nose, you're getting some of those briary fruits,
I get like
black fruits.
Blackcurrant,
Yep. But on the palate, you're picking up a lot more of those slightly, vanilla bean, some cedar. You're getting a much more complex wine. You're getting, the fruit is not as intense in the front.
It's more like mid and back colour.
Yeah, it's now subdued, but it's very complex. You're getting different flavours coming out of it. You're getting hints of chocolate. You're getting some black fruit. You're picking up some of the red currant, like a cranberry almost in there as
chocolate.
well.
It's not sweet
Yeah.
chocolate, but it's not.
I get that. Like,
That bit of chocolate.
reminds me of the dark chocolate cherry ribes.
Yes. Yeah. So, again, this is the same grape. It's obviously the best grapes in the vineyard for this pick. And it's undergone quite a lot of secondary winemaking characters with oak and things like that. So, it does look.
Seems a bit warmer to me, but I would say to me, I would reckon it was almost 2% different.
I reckon it's probably only 0.5% at best. This one is. Oh, okay, you might be right. So it's a 15.5.
This is.
No, this one.
Oh,
And what's
this
that
one
one?
is Dan gets glasses.
14.5.
Oh,
So it's 1%.
Yeah.
Oh, it's close. But
Yeah.
I get a lot more this one. Yep. And a bit more acid. Makes your mouth water a bit more.
Yeah, I actually do like that that acidity that comes in. I always prefer acidity in my wines.
But not raspy. Because when we talk about white ones, and I talk about some, like Sauvignon Blancs, will give me heartburn after a couple of glasses. It's probably the wrong acid that I'm talking about.
No, that's the same acidity.
It doesn't make my mouth water, so why is it?
Oh, it does.
Just 'cause it's unbalanced.
Oh, it's usually unbalanced. This is a really well balanced wine. This is the fruits, the primary fruits up against the secondary notes are just balanced beautifully. This is only a bit of this is a 19. This is a baby. So as this evolves over time, I reckon 2 years, 3 years, those secondary notes will start coming in. But this is a great one to drink now, as it is fresh, pretty. It's complex.
It's pretty.
It is. It's pretty. Really pretty. Now, how many styles of Zinfandel do Americans make?
8. I've no idea.
Good
Count
guess.
them. No, do it.
Zinfandel, 1.
Yeah.
So,
Can you have oaked, unoaked, or what
Yep.
styles?
So they
Still
do.
that, like,
Let's go all the way to the start. They make a white Zinfandel.
Oh, okay.
That's the first one. Then they make obviously a red Zinfandel. That can be oaked and unoaked. They do a rosé Zinfandel. They do bag in a box Zinfandel.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, Zinfandel is like one of the major grape varietals that everybody uses.
Is that just
Grape
because it grows so
California.
well?
It grows so well.
but Di Bartoli's not probably going to take it on anytime soon.
No, not like your Kylie rosé. Anyway, but no, so it makes everything up to sparkling. They use it for everything.
My mum literally just tuned on while he's bag Kylie Rose.
Yeah.
I'm not bagging Kylie rosé. I just am a bit.
Bagging Kylie Minogue.
Yeah. I'm gonna bag Kylie Minogue. She is like only one of the most famous people in the world and has more money than God. So
Yes.
yeah, I really need litigious sort of people
If she's
coming
watching,
up.
and she might actually be a good winemaker.
This is the problem I find is that when they go Brad and Angelina's rosé, what the hell do they have to do with it? Hopefully they have some input, but I'm pretty
Hopefully
sure
they at least drink it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I really hope they do. They'd be like, but then again, Sammy Hagar is tequila.
Oh, he definitely drinks his own
Definitely
tequila.
drinks a lot of that. Look at the man.
Like, still, it's pretty.
Bill Murray,
Danny Elwood.
Crystal Skull.
No, that's Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, Dan Aykroyd, sorry, yeah, my bad. Bill Murray, sorry, Bill Murray, I love you. Dan Aykroyd, though,
Yeah.
I think he's drunk a bit too much of his product because he's slightly insane.
I don't think he's been drinking his product. I mean,
He's been drinking the glycerol that he
Yeah.
was talking about.
Danny Elwood was up today and she's like, have you got the Rock tequila in? I went, no.
Sorry?
Apparently the Rock's got a tequila.
Oh my god. What does it do? It comes with whey powder?
yeah, it's protein powder mixed with blue agave.
So yeah, it's not.
That would sell.
Oh no, sadly
That
it
would
would.
so sell.
Well, Davey was talking about a while ago making a protein powder beer,
Oh,
which made my heart sad.
yeah.
Wow, could you do that?
Pick yourself a heart attack and strengthen it.
Yeah, it was either Davey or Benny. One of them were talking about a protein powder beer.
Let's call it strong.
That's got to be Dave because Benny doesn't care that much about exercise.
Yeah.
Wow, seriously, that's a great idea.
Strong beer.
Strong beer, strong ale, and then have a big.
Packs a punch.
Yeah. Maybe you get the Mountain to actually market it for you.
The Mountain.
Yeah, haven't you seen? He's one of the world's strongest men.
No.
He's the guy that was in Game of Thrones.
Well, he's bigger than the Rock. He's the Mountain.
Oh yeah,
He's huge.
he makes the Rock look like a toddler.
Yeah, the Rock goes, smell what the Rock's got. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. He's huge.
You're in trouble.
What's that?
Leave Kylie.
Leave
Can't wait to
Kylie,
taste it.
leave Kylie alone.
That's Pat's mum.
Yeah.
He didn't mean it.
She says you got to dance when you drink it. Have you seen me dance? I'm pretty sure you don't want me to dance.
But you won't drink it either, so it's all good.
Actually, I probably would drink it if it was free.
Well, I've still got the rest of that
Don't
first bottle
organise
in the
your
fridge.
No. Sorry?
I've still got the rest of that first bottle in the fridge.
That's
Pretty sure he said, somebody please buy me a bottle of Kylie.
Stop it. Yeah, we'll drink it on camera. Okay, what was your ending result? What did you find about the Zenfeld? Did you like it? Did you dislike it?
I loved it. Like,
Tick this bingo
Right,
card.
yeah.
Tick off. Yep.
yeah. No, I think is it $50? Do we sell it for $50?
$50.
Because I was originally thinking these were all in the same price bracket.
No.
Yeah, so that kind of explains
Yeah.
the step up.
We're living it up today.
Yeah.
But
A lot more softer tannins this one. A lot grippier than the original, the first
Yeah.
one. And
I will
to me, a
say,
lot more flavour.
I do agree with Pat. They all look the same.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Like,
And this is an issue that a marketer should really.
well, look at Dowie Duel. Like, you got their
Their
entry level, which
Yep.
still looks good. Like, it's
Yep.
good labeling, and then you got that next step up, which looks like
Yeah.
very elite,
Mhm.
and then you got the step above that, which looks like it's looks like I have to mortgage my house.
Yes.
Yes.
So again, it's probably the only drawback I can see with this winery is that their marketing on labels could be better. I'd like to see a lot more differentiation between their tiering, because this one is actually called, and the reason it's called this is because it's the vineyards are on the road. This is the Black St. Peter, 2019. I think it's Black St. Peter's is the vineyards that it comes off. I could be wrong. But it's almost like if they put a different label, like a white label on it, keep the same motifs and things, but they just need to differentiate that, because I think that would help them in the market
They
as well.
actually don't. That really stand out on the shelf compared to a lot of other labels.
Mm.
It's like, oh, what's that? It's because it's all black. It needs, I don't know, something a bit more eye-catching, but...
Good.
Well, I do like the leaf motif. That's a really lovely one.
Yeah.
But the wine speaks for itself. If you can get it in people's mouths and in their glasses, then they'll go...
Which is kind of why we do
Doesn't
this.
matter what the labels are.
I will be doing a masterclass on these guys in the near future too.
Because one thing you said to me a while ago, the different shaped bottles come from a time when not a lot of the population were literate, and makes sense because we've only probably been reading as a whole for
Only since the 19th century.
yeah, and so people they look to bottles for shape to know what they're buying. Like you got that style.
You've got the burgundy
yeah,
bottles.
but
you've
then
got the Bordeaux
these other ones just different heights, but same straight glasses. Like you think you could. What is a normal style Primitivo in Italy? Is it
honestly,
just a
the normal
straight
style Primitivo could be anything from a Fiasco bottle to, the Fiasco being one of the ones that's wrapped in raffia.
Yeah.
To, they just package
See,
it
I
up
think if
and-
they did something like that with a rounded bottle, like something to make it catch your eye.
Probably, don't forget that we're talking about a wine business as well. So when you look at it, you've got literally on the table here we have four different bottles. Each bottle you've got to buy by the pallet. It can be quite expensive to do. What and they have actually tried to differentiate it by putting this one as a taller, more elegant bottle to do it. I just think the labelling could really match that too. Like the bottling is fine. I've got no problem with the bottles, but I just think the labelling just needs to be a touch more eye-catching.
That third one looks, from here, if I didn't know it was red, it could be Chardonnay.
Well, this
it's
is
got
like
the
Shiraz,
burgundy bottle.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's a burgundy bottle,
Bordeaux bottles are those ones.
yeah.
Burgundy bottles are those ones. The Riesling bottle is obviously that classic Riesling style. What's the other one? There's several of them that you can get, but there's even appellation. So if you're an AOC German Riesling, you have to put it into a Riesling bottle.
Yeah.
You can't dig around.
Well, it makes sense if you're gonna play the history card, you gotta stick to it the whole way.
Yeah, exactly. And Chianti wasn't really. So everyone remembers Chianti when they were kids, that rounded bottle and thing, but that's not really what Chianti was ever really marketed.
I didn't drink Chianti when I was a kid.
Wouldn't she?
No, how rude.
How terrible. I've met your mother too. I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
I had to sneak the sherry off yourself.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have Chianti.
No Chianti, another sherry. But no, so everyone assumed Chianti was that what's called fiasco bottle. But it was really what was ever available at the time. Yeah. So really, there is no classic Chianti bottle. In fact, you look at the Chianti bottle, Chianti Classico style bottles now, they're actually more that sort of bottle. Because the Italian glassmakers produce a lot of them, and they make a lot of Chianti. So there's no legislation around that, but there are in Germany for Riesling particularly. There is Alsace is the same thing.
So you think like with France, especially with like Burgundy and Bordeaux,
They do. They've got the same AOC legislations around that.
So you'd have to have the same style bottles.
Yep.
Yep.
In fact, that's why when I get confused a lot when I'm looking. Even when I'm looking through wine shops and looking for international bottles,
You pick the shape first before you pick the label.
yeah, I'll be looking at Burgundy and I'll go, oh yeah, they're all exactly the same bottle.
Yeah.
And in fact, 90% of them have exactly the same label in that it's a hand-drawn chateau. There's a name underneath it. Could be Shane Fort or whatever it is on there through it. Could be from Boozy Collective. And like at a glance, you can't tell. You actually have to stop, read it, turn it over, read it to get the full information.
Is there any AOC kind of stuff on the actual label itself, or can you go as wild as you want?
No, you've got to have. If you're doing an appellation, there's international labelling laws. Alcohol must have ABV in it, must have the size of the bottle, must have the chateau or producer it comes from, and those laws are pretty much very stringent internationally. Where if it says this is a Côte d'Rhône, it's got to come from the Côte d'Rhône.
Yeah.
If it says Côte de Rôti, it's got to go from the Côte de Rôti region inside Côte d'Rhône. If it says it is
I love it when he gets all technical.
a particular chateau, it's got to say that particular chateau inside Côte de Rôti, inside. Yeah. So it's got that nested sort of thing inside it.
So it's a bit. It seems like it kind of cuts the market. It's like that's a lot of stuff to know from like entry level, like especially being outside of the French region, you don't know about like DOC and like
but remember,
DOCG, like
we are talking about a new world area where people have grown up not knowing this. These are major things inside of Europe. If you're inside of Europe and you're in France, you know exactly. You know where West Australia is. You know where the Northern Territory is. You know New South Wales. You know where all those areas are. Imagine that translated.
And we can read English.
Yeah. But you translate that to France, and again, you know where Burgundy is. You know Côte d'Rhône is.
Yeah.
You kind of know it. You grow up with that culture behind you. It's when they start translating that to marketing internationally, it gets really difficult.
Yeah.
And that's where you actually have to go and learn about things. And honestly, winemakers have spent a lot of time all over the world going to other places and talking to those customers about what their region is, about them.
I think it's saying you can. I guess you can study, but I think you have to go there.
You do.
Experience it.
Yep.
Stay for 6 months.
Absolutely.
See, that seems like trying to do the wet set courses. It's like fair enough paying the actual course fees, but then once you start getting into the third level, you actually have to go to the places, and then you got to tack that onto that.
When you go to the diploma, you really have to be going over there. If you don't go over there, you are going to be struggling so badly.
Yeah, or just not having a frame of reference. Like it's all good, like buying whatever we can get here.
It comes from New South Wales.
Yeah.
Truth be
It's on
told,
the bottom bit.
Truth be told, when I was actually doing the, so there's a thing called Unit 3, Still Wines, which is the hardest unit part of the WSET diploma for so the diploma for it. I actually went to the regions that I was talking about, and I stood in the vineyards, and I talked to people in the vineyards, and I found out a bit about it. And I think the only thing that allowed me to pass, and I'm not dumb, and I've spent a lot of time studying, but I think it was me actually relating, because when they asked what the viticulture and vinification of, and I think one of them was Pouilly Montrachet, And I actually started talking about the rose, talked about the aspect, talked about things like the different coloured ribbons that were tied at the end of the rose. The fact that I saw a guy pulling an entire vine out of the ground, and when I asked him what it was, he said it was a car or trunk disease that they had to stop and nip in the bud quickly. Writing that kind of stuff in there, the guy reading my assignment, my exam, because he had to write all this stuff in an exam in a ridiculously short amount of time. I think he read it and went, dude's been there, dude knows that. He's obviously been there, and I managed to pass only because of my travel. If I hadn't have travelled and just wrote out, I'd have to be 100% nailing every single factoid to try and pass. But because I've been there, it made life easy. Actually, we are well and truly off the topic now, so let's get back onto the wines. Kangarilla Road, this is their entry-level Shiraz. I'm not sure if it's entry-level, I think it's their estate range Shiraz. They've got another one above this called the Devil's Whiskers, which I quite like. This one is McLaren Vale Shiraz, and is it McLaren Vale Shiraz? I'll let you guys determine that.
I'm not too sure what a McLaren Vale Shiraz entails. I don't drink enough Shiraz to know at the moment.
It's usually big, fruity, berry, juicy sort of fruit, blackberries.
Lots of blue fruits in it generally, and there's also McLaren Vale is classically renowned for blue fruits in the Shiraz, and for that bitter chocolate complete in the back.
Has this got age on it? Because there seems to be a lot of tertiary, like secondary.
2017. So that's when you start to get the tertiaries.
Yeah. So it's the oak on this. So it's fruity. It's not jammy. It's not over extracted.
Jammy was what I was looking for.
Yeah. It's not jammy. It's not got a pectin sort of nose to it. It is fruit driven.
It is pepper in there.
Yeah, it's fruit driven. Got some spice on the side, but it's got that bit of chocolate in the back. The secondary winemaking in there is oak. Probably older oak. There's not a huge amount of new oak, but it's really lovely. Well integrated. It's got good texture. It's got good spice. Alcohol, a little bit warming, but you kind of expect that from South Australia generally. 14.5, is it?
Bang on.
Yep. So,
I don't hear that.
yeah, with these things on there, alright.
You can see a mile.
I can see a mile away. But no, it's lovely.
It tastes like it's got age already.
You've got so you're getting cedary notes, or
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, that would be good.
that could be the secondary wine notes too. Like you do get cedar from oak.
Is it like sandalwood or?
Cedar, sandalwood. Yeah, I guess that's another thing you'd call it. It does actually have a little bit of coffee, and it's starting to get some of those fruit notes that you get when you leave them in the bottle. It has undergone. Most of the wines we're drinking now are 19s.
Yeah.
This is 2 years older than that, so it is showing some secondary, some tertiary character to it. So yeah, that's actually quite old. I really like
the
it.
rich, jammy
No,
fruit that I expected from
from McLaren Vale. Okay.
I definitely get the mainly the blue fruit from the smell.
Mhm.
I don't really get too much on the tongue.
Yeah, I'm getting some mulberry sort of notes. So
Sort of mulberry would be like a
it's more of a purpley type fruit.
red fruit or that dark red fruit.
Yeah, it's a dark red fruit, but I'm getting some mulberry. I'm picking up that cranberry again. I just seem to be getting that slightly red notes of cranberry in there.
Try some cheese with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get a lot of pepper with it. I don't know. It's like because I can't stomach pepper.
You're pretty sensitive to spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and the chicken wings are going to just not work well. No. No, that's lovely. Did you ask Mel, by the way, about the...
Yeah, crispy is all good.
Cool. You asked Vicky?
No.
Okay, you don't love your daughter then, that's fine.
What are we doing?
Tuesday?
Oh, breakfast.
Yeah,
I'll just tell that.
okay. That's fine. Better shop steak too.
Yeah, it's like an amber. Yeah.
That's right, Amber Weekly too, yeah.
Yes.
So, opinions?
It's good.
Hold on, I'm getting sensing a bit of hesitancy here.
I
You don't love it.
I love it.
Don't say I love it.
Shiraz is like I don't know. I feel I'm just missing that aha moment with Shiraz, like something to make it click. Like,
No wow factor for
yeah,
me.
it's just Shiraz is like I love Merlots, I love Sangiovese and Tempranillos.
Yep.
Love Cab Sauves. I'm just missing the thing with Shiraz. Like I don't know why. Like the Hedonist Shiraz. That was one where I was like, okay, I love this. But yeah, overall Shiraz.
It's a McLaren Barrel Shiraz as well.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably a very good thing to compare those two. So, what did you like about the Hedonist Shiraz?
I'm trying to remember back because it was the estate range that we did try. So we had
How much are these?
On the wall.
We usually try and give them away, but otherwise, yeah. What is it? 2 for something?
some.
It's on the wall. It's a
2.50
big red
on the wall,
sticker on the wall.
Yeah, have a look.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to remember back to the flavors that I had when I had it, because it wasn't the
I'm doing an online tasting.
it wasn't the lowercase like.
No price on
Crying out loud. We're doing an online tasting.
that.
We're doing an online tasting.
Welcome to Bob McCausland for interrupting.
Oh, sorry.
That's because the stupid rappers come in and put signs all over the top of it.
Ah.
Yeah, I was about to ask, do you want to just take two of them down?
All her signs down in front of them.
Hopefully Jane's not watching.
No, not James.
Bet.
Back,
Yeah.
Yeah, covered all those price signs.
Oh, lovely. Well, you can throw that away.
I will.
Yeah, because it wasn't the standard. Because we had the standard Shiraz, and I did actually like that a little bit.
Oh, you talk about the $70 Shiraz.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
For some reason,
For some reason, I like a $70 Shiraz.
Yeah, I thought it was actually quite
wonder
nice.
why.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's palatable.
Yeah. Yeah, I can stomach it.
Yes.
I can't smell the wine now for that perfume.
Oh, yeah, that's quite full, isn't it? You brought it back with you. All I'm getting now is just like lilacs and
I
violets.
don't know what that is. Alright.
So,
what's it
like-
I was actually really enjoying it until that.
So what's the characteristics of a McLaren Vale Shiraz?
So, classic characteristics, and I can be proved wrong if anyone wants to put in the comments. Generally, blue and red fruits, more blue fruits than red fruits. Sometimes jamminess is in there, so you get that really jammy notes from particularly hot seasons. Generally, the bitter chocolate.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've had consistently said to me time and time again is a really velvety mouthfeel. So the tannins are
actually,
soft
that's what I
and
remember. Yeah, that's what I remember from the Hedonist one now. Like they had that really thick velvety feel on your
Yeah, really terrible.
that thick velvety mouthfeel when you drink it. Yeah.
So that is what I term as a classic McLaren Vale style. So if I can pick notes of that, if you give it to me blind and I taste a Shiraz, if I can pick those notes, I'll go out to McLaren Vale Shiraz. Today I got given a
Did you get the chocolatiness out of that
yeah, I do actually.
first? I don't get jamminess.
I get a bit of chocolate at the back.
I get that
Like-
chocolate, that bitter chocolate.
Yeah.
So that's 70% cocoa chocolate. But it's also the mouthfeel in this wine that sort of gives it away a little bit. In Barossa, it has a tendency to be bright red fruits. Usually, the acidity is about the same. But I usually pick up things like coffee and chocolate mocha in the back.
Like
Eden Valley
sweeter
is
style.
exactly the same except with darker fruits and a bit more
Yeah.
aromatics to it.
Yeah.
Coonawarra, I find that it does actually have, and this Coonawarra, whether or not this is just my head making things up as I go through, Coonawarra, I do pick up a little bit of that minty note that turns up in like a mint chocolate type thing.
Yeah.
That turns up in their Shiraz. I don't know whether that's because I'm used to the Coonawarra Cabernet having that mint component. With West Australian.
Rippiness out of the Shiraz as well?
No, not really. No, it's not generally as high a tannin as the Cabernet. Although the cooler climate the cool winds that come through from the current that goes off the coast there will normally bring you some really lovely aromatic flavours to it. West Australia, I find their Shiraz to be solid, but nothing. If you give me a Shiraz and I go, oh, it's Shiraz, I will usually assume it's Margaret River because
If you can't pick out the flavours from the
no, I
aforementioned
just find it
regions.
to be it's very linear and elegant, and it's It's not what I love in a Shiraz.
It's probably not the region for Shiraz though.
Not really.
Because they have like the Chardonnays and the Capsaz is what they're
Pinot
known
Noir,
for.
Chardonnay and Capsaz.
Yeah.
Camarillos,
Mm.
Western Australia,
Yeah.
Margaret River.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's Camarillos.
And yet, where Chardonnay does well, generically Pinot does well. And yet, Pinot isn't really a big winner over in.
Is that for specific styles of Pinot though, or
No, that's Pinot Noir. Classically, if it's a Chardonnay region, it'll be a Pinot region too. You're concerning me more than a little right now.
just trying to
Just
get
trying
rid
to
of
get a breeze run.
Oh, yeah. But ironically, you've got Cabernet and Merlot, which is classically Bordeaux.
it? Yeah.
It loves maritime climate, which Margaret River has.
Yeah.
But then you've got Chardonnay, and the Chardonnay coming out of Margaret River is phenomenal. You know, it's really awesome.
So you haven't had too
And it
many.
is not
That's Felix.
Vats Felix,
Felix.
you know, Stella Bella, Cullen, Mosswood, you name it. The Chardonnay
Mosswood,
coming out of there.
right,
It's one of my favourites. We don't carry it in store, but it is one of my actual favourites I enjoy is Lewin.
Oh, okay,
Voyager.
yeah.
Lewin Voyager. Xanadu. Xanadu used to be an amazing Chardonnay when we could get it. At a good price, I should say. But, you know, so we've got all these different styles of Chardonnay coming out of a region that is very Bordeaux-like. But it brings a whole different realm of Chardonnay to it. You start looking at Yarra Valley, which does Pinot and Chardonnay quite well.
Yeah.
But the Shiraz and the Cabernet out of it are light, aromatic, and very, I would say, linear, soft and elegant. So to define, you know, what should be classically great regions for these particular varietals, in Australia we mix and match them, which is a really strange situation to be in. So
We like a certain style, we make our own. I think it's good.
now that you've put that up, it's good because it stopped me getting that patchouli sort of.
It was.
No, it's
so
terrible.
strong.
And actually, the Shiraz is opening up as we go through.
Mm.
So, on to the
It's actually
Cabernet.
better,
Yeah. We will review these wines all over again in a minute.
Is Roz coming down?
Oh, yeah, she's coming down about now, actually. So, I think she'll need a drink after her week. It's been a bit of a hard week
I
for
think
her.
she'll bring a breath of fresh air when she comes in.
God, my wife always brings a breath of fresh air. I love her dearly. Okay, now, I'd like to point out, you two are the big Cabernet lovers in the room. I enjoy Cabernet, but I enjoy Shiraz and other alternate varietals a lot more, so I'll get your opinions first before I say anything. So
terrible.
Dan, what's that?
So, I don't know, it's just because it's been poured, or
I'd say it's just been poured.
I'm getting a lot of like, gassiness. Probably not sulphurness, but the gassiness of it. But
There's a bit of residual CO2.
CO2.
If you do have a cracker
CO2,
wine,
is that-
yeah, carbon dioxide. So, because it's actually when you do fermentation, when you actually yeast ferments sugars, it comes out with ethanol and CO2 essentially. So what happens is most of that CO2 generally goes off. They let it release it. Sometimes though it does combine back into the wine. And if you do get a bottle of wine and you crack it and it hisses slightly when it comes out, or it pops, don't stress too much. That's generally the CO2 in the wine.
Yeah.
It may cause a little bit of frizzante or fizziness to it. Again, that doesn't mean it's off necessarily.
No.
You just need to let it breathe.
Because they have that little white cap underneath the
The Stelton
Stelton,
cap, So that's actually really important, because I've had people bring bottles of wine back going, this fizzed up when I did it. And I said, when you fizzed up, did it just give a pop?
Yeah.
It just popped. I went, did it fizz? No. Probably okay. If a wine fizzes, then yes, it's an unfined, unfiltered wine that's been set in the heat, and what actually happens is the yeast will come back to life and start re-fermenting, and that causes a secondary thing, which is like what champagne does. It'll actually, then the thing is, those yeast, if there's no sugar left, because you can ferment a wine dry, but there's sometimes a little bit of residual sugar. If it does re-ferment, they'll even re-ferment things like glycerols. And what will actually happen is the body of the wine will get really, really light. So where you've got a body, so Cabernet, taste the wine, of Cabernet, you can feel there's a palate weight to your tongue. If you drink that and there's no palate weight to it at all, that can sometimes.
Don't tell me that because this is light.
Yes. No, but it can but literally, if with a fizzy thing for it and stuff, it will actually say that maybe it's done that. The other part is though that Charlie Silent Noise does a Primitivo, but he puts it under floor. Do you know what floor is?
This
where you can.
You are so correct and so wrong at the same time. So it's a sherry making thing where you get a barrel, you put the fully fermented wine in there, made from Palomino generally, and then you allow a covering of different yeasts and microbes to create what's called a cover or a floor, and that's the floor.
Why don't they call it a cap?
Well, it's not a cap as such because you've got to try and get it. If it doesn't fully form, then you have to change it and change the style from a Fino style to a Oloroso style.
Inch thick or something floating on the top?
It's about yay thick.
Oh, okay, so it's not.
You fill up about 2/3 of the barrel and it creates a floor over the top. And what that does is the yeasts and microbes eat the glycerol, which was what makes sherry really, really light. Now that's a really cool idea. And I would never have thought of this, but Charlie did. He took Primitivo, which is a very fruit-driven style of wine, with quite a bit of body from the glycerol components, and made an incredibly light style, still fruit, still aromatic, but it actually has those slightly aldehyde notes and is a lot lighter in style. It was an intriguing idea, and he does, experiment, but he's managed to make it work for him. And in fact, I believe it's one of his better selling wines too. And he also does an FG Shiraz. I'm not going to say what FG stands for, but you can probably guess.
Fairy giant?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Very Giant Shiraz. You heard it here first.
Fairly good.
Yeah.
This is lovely.
Yeah.
A lot more. I still find it quite light, but it has got more mouthfeel.
Yeah, it's not got this, well, it's similar, but it is a McLaren cab, so it's not real heavy with the tannin like a Kangarilla.
It's really drippy all the way through, from the
Yeah.
front of the palate right through the back. It's
Yeah. I don't know, I just had a Coonawarra one the other night, so I had that kind of idea in mind when I was drinking a cab.
no, I think it's got good acid. It makes your mouth water.
It's like
just a gentle, grippy tannin.
blue
right
fruits, not like the black fruits that I expect from Cabernets. Like, it seems more like mulberries and like.
I do find the
blackberries.
fruits lighter in this.
Yeah.
Really?
Whether or not they picked it slightly earlier. What vintage is it, by the way?
I think it's 2019. 2016. Oh,
2016.
Wow. So you should
some
be
of it-
getting way more too.
Fruits can come out a little bit and blend it in.
Yeah. So
Not burning, so it's probably slightly lighter again. than
I
what
reckon
we
it's
just
14
had.
still.
14 on the dot.
What was that on? 14.
14.5, yeah.
So this is the.
That's the big boy. Yeah, the big boy. I must admit, I do like a good alcohol balance in my wines.
See, having that one like, if I did this again, I'd probably have that one at the end, like the Zinfandel
We
at the
can
end.
do that in a minute.
Yeah, I think the Zinfandel had a bit
We
more.
can do
of a-
anything when the cameras are off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That may end poorly though. Look, I have to say that there's a little bit of fruit gone back into the wine. I'm not sure about the 16 vintage actually, to tell the truth. But it's not in your face fruit, but I do find the tannin structure and the acidity do quite balanced. I do like the fact that it's making my mouth water.
Yeah.
And the tannin, because after having some pate, and the tannin did strip the tongue clean. So, but it's not big tannic sort of style, which
No,
is
it's
great.
quite.
But I will say it's much more of a Cabernet drinker's Cabernet than your entry-level drinker's Cabernet that we normally see from McLaren Bar. If someone comes in and says, I want a Cabernet, I generally aim them towards McLaren Bar Cabernet, not a big Cabernet lover.
Beginner's Cabernet.
Yeah. If they like they're like, oh, I've had a bit of Cabernet, but I really want to try, I'd go to Barossa from there, and then I'd generally go to Coonawarra or Margaret River, depending if they prefer fruit driven or tannin.
Yeah.
So,
Well, a bloke came in yesterday. No, yesterday? Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yep.
Went, I want a nice bottle of Cabernet for a really nice piece of steak.
Oh, okay.
Kangarilla, come
Yeah.
on, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What are you getting?
She went with the Georgia.
Oh, okay.
oh yeah,
cool.
Kangarilla, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
Actually, Sue Bell's Cabernet is really, really good too.
Mm.
That's the Bellwether Cabernet.
Okay.
Recommend that thoroughly.
What's the cat one? The cat.
We're talking about cat amongst pigeons.
No. It's like KA. We did it. We did a tasting ages ago.
K.A.
Starts with K.
Cat milk.
Cat milk,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that one was brilliant.
Good
Yeah, it was,
guess,
mate,
really.
yeah.
Yeah.
Starts with K.A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the Chinese company.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah.
They've changed distribution hubs, so I don't know where it is now.
Ah. Yeah. Well, I did really love that one.
And actually, the winemaker Tim is just a phenomenally lovely guy. Him and I have to say, Catnip took me down to. I thought it was going to be a winemakers symposium. It was actually a race day, and I probably had again one of my favourite times just sitting with him in the race tent and other people like Riley. She was phenomenal. She's in Brisbane as a som somewhere.
I believe there was a mess made on the plane or something. I'm not sure.
Was that a mess made on the plane? No, surely.
What were they racing?
There was some
It
person.
was actually
that,
horse races.
Ah.
some person spilled their lunch somewhere along the line in that trip.
No, that was. Oh, yeah, actually, it might be. I don't
Because
know.
I saw him at some other tasting and he's gone, I was with Andrew on the trip to the races and then come out of bed.
Yes, I remember now.
Yeah, he
Yes,
lost his lunch somewhere.
he did. He was not very well. But no, we.
He had a good laugh about that.
Yeah, we sat down and we literally went through because in the bar, which is open, you can have as much as you want. We literally went up and went through every other winery, Chardonnays, Cabernets, and Shiraz, and compared them literally to because the winemaker was there. We were sitting there going, so what is it you doing differently? What's he doing? And then of course by the end of that, Jane Ferrari was presenting. It was a great thing, but literally at our table, we ended up with the major winemakers all sitting at our table discussing wine while the races are going on. Because I had no interest in races at all. I couldn't care.
Is that Jane up there?
No, it's not. That's Jill Radford.
Oh.
No, Jane Ferrari, you can see her online. She does a really good blog post on wine. If you're ever looking to talk about wine that I drink, I think it's called, is what she does. Jane Ferrari.
I've heard really good things about it. Like, I love the fact that she does wine seminars in tracksuit pants.
Kind of
Changes my opinion of songs.
Yeah. No, she's a winemaker.
Oh, winemaker.
Yeah, she's a baron of the Barossa, actually.
Oh, really?
That's how I thought we had them
Baroness.
all.
No, we didn't. I haven't got one of her yet. I'll probably get one of her later. It'll be good. But she cracked me up because first time I met her, she was doing the release for the FDW, I think it's called, or RFW, FRW. I can't remember. Damn it, it's the Yalumba red wine trial.
Oh.
Red wine.
That's right.
No, it's like red wine trials. It's Penfolds. FDR, that's right, and then the FDW, and then she went through all the other major releases from Yalumba for that year. And I remember sitting there in a group of all these, very powerful restaurateurs and sommeliers, and I'm sitting there, and her opening line was, "Yeah, pretty bloody good vintage this year." And I went, "Okay, we've just taken a step down. I'm feeling much more of a level."
That's a technical term.
The technical term of bloody good vintage. And then she turned around and said, like, one of the guys started talking about something to do with Beaumet and the acidity levels, which is really interesting to me now, but at the time I had no interest at all. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And she answered this question, and it was a very technical question, she answered it. But at the end, to let everybody in on the conversation, she said, basically what we're saying is there's a shitload of fruit and a really good whack of acid in the back of it at the end. So it was a really good long vintage, lovely cooling vintage in it. And I'm sitting there going, oh, tick, okay, answered that one. So it was really good. She brings wine from technical right down to anyone can understand it.
Who does she do winemaking for?
Well, she was with Yalumba, but she's now left Yalumba, and I think she was just she spent she spent most of the time going around the world talking to everybody, and I think she had enough and pulled back. But she's doing a bit of work for Brock and Shack now, and she's doing a bit of work for other ones. So I was really impressed.
COVID sort of limits travel, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it really does. But at the end of the day, so
I find the Cabernet's like worn up a bit now. Like,
look, for me, wine it does evolve in the glass. Particularly, a young wine will evolve in the glass.
But this is a 2016, so
2016,
like,
yeah.
I'm not getting as many tertiary characters as I thought I'd get from something that old.
Yeah, no, I'm not either.
Yeah.
There's no real bottle age character to it. There's no rancio. I was
expecting
more
like leather or like kind of.
none of that leather.
24 years old. Come on.
Yeah, but when we tried that, I was picking up some of those tertiary characters coming into it. When we tried that, even I was picking up some tertiary characters. But the Cabernet is just so
much is the Cabernet?
2016. It's like
expensive one here is that one. All the others are $25.
Oh, okay, and that one's 50.
Yeah, that's 50. Yeah.
Right. And apparently it's East Block 5 this is more in that price.
No, I'm going back to that because that's actually been my favourite for the day.
Oh yeah.
So we may as well take a vote now. So Pat, your pick of the wine today. Zinfandel, hands down. Dan.
This is in.
Zinfandel, yeah.
Yeah, I would go with it. The Cabernet is good, but I really want to retry this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to go with Zin too. So we all.
It's also the biggest alcohol.
Also the biggest alcohol, but also the most
I
expensive.
just want to say at the front, I've got to take down a trolley for a customer and just got way too busy, way too fast.
Okay, I can't hear anyone. Is there 20 people lined up?
20 people lined up.
Alright,
So we're going for the Zin.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Drink well, drink like a savvy. Have a good day.